constantly like, why do you have so many like shit? Like, you must have like a foot fetish. That's the only reason. That's the only logical thing that I can think of. You're obsessed with feet, and like, no, like I mean, whatever. Anyway, I love sneakers simply because to me they've always been wearable art, and I like art, and I love just being able to like look down and be like, damn, this looks insane, you know. And like sometimes it's also just like self-expression, you know. And some days I'm feeling like super like futuristic, and then other days I'm feeling like, you know, just kind of plain Jane, and that's why I love them, because like they can kind of just like tell the story of a mood that I might be in without me having to like say much, because I really just don't like talking to people a lot, Haas. No offense.
You're here to talk. Yeah, thank you.
We're gonna talk some more though, don't worry.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. This is episode 211, and this week I bring to you a special episode with none other than Aab Lincoln, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Man. This is look, I had Jordan on. We talked a little bit about you. After that, also talked about you. I'm like, you know, would love to have you on one time. And you followed me, and I was like, I can't believe you followed. Like,
I like what you do, man. I've been watching for a little bit now, like just like on the hush, you know, kind of like stealth mode. But yeah, no, I think what you're doing is really good. It's important, and just excited to be here and be able to, you know, kick it, honestly.
Nah, man, huge honor. And also thank you, because like I mean, and I know that, you know, with your work as well, it's like, it's really hard to be seen, I want to say, right? When you're just like, I'm like, you're just creating, and you're also just creating for yourself, but
Correct.
you also want people to find it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, being behind the lens is very interesting, because I take it to like such a very like interesting train of thought of like thinking about other people and how they perceive it, because how I see something is completely different than 99.9999% of the world.
Yeah.
So you know, most people, it's like, oh, that's cool, swipe. And like, for me, trying to have something that is going to just get out there, grab your attention, you're going to go back to it, people are going to share it, like that's great. I love that. But I'm also trying to figure out how to get from behind, because I mean, a lot of people maybe are starting to become a little bit more familiar with my hand.
Oh yeah,
that seems to be
yeah, even
you
with the last one, with the Action Bronson post,
yeah,
like the Action Bronson New Balances, and
yeah,
it was like, oh yeah, that's Tyler's hand right there.
going diamond with this hand. But yeah, so I mean, to be able to do things like this, and you know, we were talking off mic just a second ago about me trying to like really push myself out of my comfort zone, just because growing up in like such a small like town in South Carolina, you know, there wasn't a lot of this. So it was pretty overwhelming when I moved here over 10 years ago. And, you know, I have my pockets where I get, you know, into the action, and then sometimes I turn back into like a hermit.
Yeah.
And then obviously with COVID, you know, I think that kind of
it changes everything. Yeah, you know,
happy 5 years to I can't believe it's been 5 years.
It's 5 years. Yeah, it's crazy that like we're doing this episode on the day that they like announced that everything was like, we're shutting it down. So
hopefully that's not an omen or anything.
No. But I think I mean, I still feel we're still learning how to be around each other still, in my opinion. Like I don't know if it's like, if you take into stock how much your social battery runs out, or like how quick it does, and it's like, it's really hard to get that back, right?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of my younger years just like in my house, like so after a certain point, you kind of just you're like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't. And but it's easy to revert back because I'll go weeks of just like not leaving the house.
Mm-hmm.
But then somebody like, but that's the thing. It's like, if you don't have people that are around you being like, hey, let's go do something, and people just leave you alone, it's so easy to just be alone.
It's so fascinating how that works, man. Yeah. I mean, I think that when I think about it in the sense that I grew up in an era where like touching grass, going outside, manhunt, things like that.
Man,
like
manhunt.
Man, like what an era. And
you made me think about the Wii game too. Oh man.
Oh my god. And yeah, so like I think about like growing up in that, and then it just like slowly becomes more about being online. Then all of a sudden hard like close, everyone stay at home. Like it's been quite the journey. Yeah.
So
happy 5 years.
Happy 5 years. So speaking of the journey, I'm gonna hit you with the question that I ask everybody each week. Do it. And that question is, what's your first kicks? What's that first pair of sneakers you absolutely needed to have?
So I have a few, but I'm gonna start off with the one, like it was like the earliest memory that I can remember. The year was, I believe, 1996 or 90, whenever Space Jam came out, the original Space Jam. I went and saw that with my brother and dad, the theaters.
Yeah.
And before I even realized I couldn't even have it, it was the shoe I needed to have, which was the Space Jam 11.
Yeah. And
I just remember like, what is that? Like, patent leather basketball shoe, like it was truly like something I'd never really seen before. And then like on the big screen, like what a hell of a debut, for a shoe. Come to find out, I wouldn't even be able to like pretend or like wish or hope to have that shoe until like many years later. And then I'd be still broke as a little kid with no money and no way to convince my parents. And then I want to say it was 2005 or 6. I'm in high school and I'm like really starting to learn more about sneakers. And I was like, I remember being on Nike Talk and I like scrolled past like maybe like it was a Jordan 11 thread or something like that in the Jordan forum. And I remember like just like learning about all these mythical objects and especially the Space Jam 11. And I was like, oh boy, like it was like, like you see somebody like on the train and you're like, I don't know if you're single or not.
I'm not, but
okay. But let's think about a time when we were single and you saw, someone that just really like, I guess the kids are saying these days that they gagged you,
What? I haven't heard that one.
Oh, you got gagged. Maybe I'm using it in the wrong context and this is being a boomer. But something along those lines.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just say you were smitten.
Yeah. No, we going with gagged.
And then
gagged
I could totally be using that in the wrong context again. So fair warning. But yeah, so then all of a sudden, years later, you run into that person again. You see him again, and it's like, oh, okay, this is. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna shoot my shot. I'm gonna figure this one out this time. So I may or may not have started skimming money from the lunch money my parents were giving me.
I thought, you had me thinking you were pulling stuff off the register for some reason at the store.
Yeah. The statute of limitations, right?
Yeah. You're like, I was working at a deli.
Oh,
and I was
man.
just taking $1 here, $1 there.
No. I was working at Finish Line at that time, but I swear to no, it was just my lunch money. Sorry, mom and dad. And I started putting like, a couple dollars like off to the side every day. And what's actually really funny is now that I think about it, I was like totally not slick about it because I'd come home and I'd just like start pigging out and like because I wasn't really using the lunch, right? So anyway, saved up, I think it was like $300 and some change, which was like about the going rate for, you know, a dead stock pair in my size.
Oh, you bought them online?
Yeah.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, because at that point, Space Jams had been like gone, right? From like the market. They were dried up. It was like 2001 or 2000, I think, when they got their first real release.
Yeah.
Which is always such a weird like gray area to me because they were still called like a retro 11, but technically they had never actually released. So were they really a retro or were they? It's kind of hard to say. I don't know. I'm not sure where.
Now you got me thinking.
Yeah. Well, you know, be that as it may, I still went ahead and I think I might have had PayPal at that point. I don't think the person that I bought them from, because I want to say I got them on eBay. I still have them. But yeah, sent the money out digitally. And somehow or another, they ended up, you know,
but you lucky
in
they
Goose
didn't make
Creek,
you,
South Carolina. Yeah, and
you lucky they didn't make you do a money order, man.
Oh man, trust me, I've had my fair share, and I still don't even know how that's like. Is that real? Like, I
don't know, man.
I'm like, so I can go to the grocery store, I can go to like this weird section and like pull out a piece of paper. Like, yeah, no, that
and they get the money.
Like, are we sure? Like, who? Someone's getting duped here. I feel like I don't know. But yeah, so that was one of the first ones, like earliest memories. And then prior to that, well, I guess technically the 12 came out after. And I was like, well, I gotta have some new Jordan. Like, I know that I need this. Like, it's gonna make me really good at basketball.
Yeah,
and
you want to be just like Mike.
Yeah, and I just wasn't, but it's okay. So anyway, I got the white and red, the original 12. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to fry some people on this court, and I did, but it was myself. I like tripped over myself. Like I don't know if it was like the laces were too long or like the court was like too like slippery. I can't remember, but that was pretty embarrassing. And I was like, well, you know, it's okay. I still look good. Yeah, so it's fine. You don't got these. So yeah, that was,
you were gagged.
Yeah, I gagged myself.
You gagged
I guess
yourself.
We'll say that. But then, yeah, so that was like the first one that actually like got instantaneously almost. And then, man, I'll fast forward because like this was like the one where I was like really in like the depths of like sneakerdom and like just like Nike talk. And I really was on some other shit where I was like, I need to get this particular pair of shoes because I know that when I step into my school, like before the first period bell rings and everyone's congregating, it's going to be just complete like turmoil for everyone. And people are going to be running around like, oh my God. Like, and
the record stops. Like,
it's going to be all that. So that was the Tiffany Dunk SB. And at that point, I had started building up a little bit of like a rapport with my local skate shop. And I walked in one day just like, I already knew that they were going to get them, but I just kept being like, so we're getting kind of close here. Are they coming? They're like, look, we got you. Don't worry. You know, we just asked you to buy like this hat. It was like a Tiffany hat with like the little diamond from Diamond Supply.
Diamond Supply.
It was like a flex fit hat from Nike. Like, I don't know if you remember those, but no offense. Those were...
Yeah, they're bad.
Those were not my jam. I think it's still like brand new, to be honest. Just didn't suit my head. So anyway, they're like, yeah, just buy that. And like, we'll go ahead and you can have them like right now. I was like, oh shit. Like this is 2 weeks before the official release date.
Yeah.
I was like, are you sure? They're like, yeah, it's fine. Like, we know you want them. Like, you've been coming. Like, you're cool. And I was like, well, looks like I'm about to shit on people a little bit earlier than I thought. So anyway, gave him the money. I was even like taking like pictures back then too, by the way, and I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. But I told like the guy, I'm like, I'm gonna take amazing pictures. Like I got you. Like I'm gonna give it to you on like the arm. Like it's all good. Like he was like, okay, like sure, because like at that point it's like it's a sneaker picture. Like, okay, like so. Anyway, that was probably one of the earliest shoes I ever shot. Pictures were terrible. I don't know where those are. I wish I could find that, but
we need that. You got to go in the archive. They got to be somewhere.
No cloud, no 3.5A floppy disk or whatever it was. Like none of that is gonna. I think those are gone, but it's okay. Maybe AI can bring it back at some point. But yeah. So anyway, I got the shoes.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I got to put together the fit. Obviously, like can't like. So I think at that point, camo shorts just went with everything.
Yeah.
It's like that was just like the staple. Like it was either the shorts or their pants. In South Carolina, it's hot, so I obviously went with the shorts. And I think the shirt was probably just like one of the Diamond Supply shirts that they had. I was like, I just needed like low hanging fruit at that point. I'm just gonna grab whatever because this fit is gonna get off real quick prematurely. But anyway,
I could feel how hyped you were.
Oh, it was great. It was so great. So anyway, it's like the night before. It's not even the first day at school, by the way. So like I don't know. I'm just like thinking to myself like it was like the first day of school, like all over again, I guess. But I had the clothes laid out, everything. Wake up probably a little bit early just to make sure everything was looking, nice and clean.
Everything's going according to plan.
Yeah. Like, Mom, we need to get to like probably one of the only times a kid was like
early.
Was like, yo, why is he like trying to get to school so early? I don't know. So anyway,
you did. Did you like practice phrases in the mirror or something?
I think it was more like poses, like like. These hoes clean. That angle. So then I got to school and I walked in and like in my head, I heard like drums and like confetti was like going. The cheerleading squad was like doing flip. Like seriously, like this is like in my like I have a very big imagination and like. I don't say this like to like embellish. Like this is literally like my head. Like I really, I gotta like learn to sometimes like lower my expectations because let me tell you, that was like, I think one person was like, "Oh, cool shoes." That was it. I was like, are y'all fucking kidding? Like, do you not understand? Like, I was like telling people and educating them at that point. Like, look, I know you don't understand, but like, this is not your regular dunk. It's not. And like some of the kids, I think they probably thought it was just like an Air Force One.
Right.
Like, because like kids didn't really know like some. But
if you knew, but it's definitely if you know, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, fuck it, y'all are a lost cause. Like I'm just gonna keep marching to my own drum here because
Did you at least post them on Nike Talk or something? Like, dude, like y'all got these early?
I think I had like posted just like a real like quick shitty picture because like I still hadn't like really like fallen like into that lane just yet. But yeah, so that was definitely one of like those shoes I needed to have. And I wish I still had them, but unfortunately they got thrashed and then I had to pass them off to somebody else because they were just like disgusting. And I still made some money on it. I was like shocked.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you probably make some more money on it now if you like like
hindsight.
It's one of those shoes that are just all-time loved. Like everybody talks about it being like one of the best like shoe. I mean, for me, number one is like the Flom. Like I'm a SB head, so it's just like Floms is one.
That's
two is like Huff highs. But I'm also like I love highs too. But Tiffany Dunks is definitely a shoe where it's just. I remember first getting into SB and like seeing that color and there was I used to go to school. I went to college for print.
Okay.
And so there was always this every single time you hear about like how Tiffany, like the Tiffany brand, like they have to, what they do is they own the Tiffany Pantone colorway.
Insane.
And then when everybody and when anybody uses it, they have to pay them. So if they're like, hey, we want to run an ad in the newspaper, you still have to pay us to run an ad for that we're paying you to do. So it's like the most insane like circle that is being done with that. So but like hearing about it, and then you see, you know, then you hear about the Tiffany Duncan and not really being the Tiffany color. Yeah. But it's like as close as it could get.
Yeah, without them without them just completely getting, you know, sued. And
it's just crazy. And then like
for me, my actually, I'm trying to think. I think my first pair of SB Dunks was actually the Reese Forb, the Hunter, the low with like the quilted orange liner, and that was just like on some real, like, I was like kind of trolling like a lot of the kids at my school with that one, and like that was like my like artistic expression of being like saying fuck you to like some of like the redneck kids that were always like, you know, I didn't really bang with them that much, you know, like that was like, some of them had good hearts, but man, some of them just really missed me like with the logic and like or lack thereof. And, you know, like they wore like the real tree, like camo and stuff. Okay.
So I get what you're saying.
That was like sort of like the tie back to that. And like, man, I used to be such a like a little like fucker, honestly, like with like the way I was like trolling like the kids, and you know, maybe they didn't even know, but you remember like Hollister and like the polos with like the bird.
Yeah.
So I had my mom. So I got one because like that was also like a very big like piece like amongst the preppy / rednecks whatever crowd. And I remember I was like, I had this hilarious idea. I was like, hey Ma, could you like just embroider like a few different like droppings like under the bird? And that was just like me being like shitting on y'all, you know? So like that was like early streetwear. You know,
you were like playing chess.
Yeah, they 3D chess. Yeah. And it was like such a good era too, because like you had digital gravel, which was like sort of my entry point for like a lot of the streetwear shirts, like especially like the hundreds and I think there was some other ones.
I mean, you got Crooks and Castles.
Yep.
Rocksmith.
Lamar and Dolly. That was one of my favorites, man. Like I loved me some Lamar and Dolly. I had this one Andre Agassi t-shirt. It was like red and it had him with like the hair and it's bright yellow. Oh man, that the stars. And
I was just talking about Lamar and Dolly with my friend, and I think it was like they were trying either, I don't know if I'm even allowed to even talk about this, but like it's either like
you have to cut it if
it's staying in.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure. I could be absolutely wrong. But they're like talking about looking at references because I think they're trying to bring it back.
Ooh.
So
okay. You heard it here first.
Yeah. I could be I could be wrong, and I also could just be, you know, exploding at NDA right now. But yeah, we'll see.
Hey, ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's what I've learned throughout these years.
Yeah. I'm definitely curious of like how did your family, you know, end up in South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
The Carolinas I always mess up.
Don't worry. So many people do it. At this point, I'm kind of immune to it. But South Carolina. And you know, it's an interesting thing that I'm still like learning to this day. I know that we kind of started off.
Where's your family from originally? Like,
so my dad is originally from, and my mom are originally from South Carolina. But then they started moving up north at one point. This was before I was born, technically. I think they moved to Hershey, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So big fans of chocolate.
Oh yeah. It's like I'm genetically predisposed to loving that shit. And then so I think at one point or another they were like in Alabama, but came into the picture when they moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee, home of the moon pies. I don't know if you ever had a moon pie.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
I'm a banana moon pie guy.
I gotta go.
Sorry,
I gotta leave. No, I'm kidding. I've actually never even had it. I stick with the classic. But yeah, that's where they're made. Yep. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Me and home pies.
Yeah,
we're right here. That's who's putting on. But I think we only like lived there for maybe like a year or something before we ended up moving back to South Carolina. So yeah, but we were in like upstate at that point, Greenville, South Carolina, and then inevitably moved a little bit more south to Goose Creek. Yeah. So
and like,
I think it was all kind of just like based on like, all right, my dad he used to work at Russell.
Oh, okay.
And he
athletics.
Oh
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool. And he was, I can't remember like what position, like he was like at corporate, like, or whatever, and like had like a pretty cool role there. And he still swears to like their quality like to this day. I'm like,
it's good quality.
I'm like, drink the company Kool-Aid a little there too much, Dad. Chill out. But yeah, so then I think it was more so just like trying to, follow like wherever like the career path was taken, type situation. So
well, first, like the whole, I feel like it's like a full circle moment if you're just like, because you also got to work within,
when
product.
Kith ended up doing, did they do it? It was a Russell collab, I believe.
Was it?
It was like a bunch of different, I don't think it was Champion. I'm pretty sure it was Russell. Can we get a fact check on that? Man, I always like compare my tenure at Kith as like, and I mean this with like the utmost respect, but it was the equivalent of being in like a hyperbolic chamber, like on Dragon Ball Z, and like all this shit's like kind of like going. So it feels like so Russell. Much. I mean, it was a long time, but
it is a Russell Kith.
It was, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. So like when we ended up doing that collab, I was just like, this is so funny. Yeah. But yeah, so sometimes my timelines, I do apologize if I get stuff mixed up or whatever, or like even like the collab itself. But seems like I still have a pretty good head on my shoulders.
You're good. So like the journey, right? Where now we know that like sneaker culture, you got to experience it, even though it's like mainly online, but you brought it. The craziest part is bringing it to South Carolina, your high school.
Yeah.
So you only touched on it a little bit, but like, what was that like? Were people just judging you, or were you just
man, I don't know if it was like the sneakers as much as like some of the clothing that I was wearing that was just, I mean, people were definitely like, why do you have so many like shit? Like, you must have like a foot fetish. That's the only reason. That's the only logical thing that I can think of. You're obsessed with feet, and like, no, like I mean, whatever. Anyway, I love sneakers simply because to me they've always been wearable art, and I like art, and I love just being able to like look down and be like, damn, this looks insane, and like sometimes it's also just like self-expression, you know, and some days I'm feeling like super like futuristic, and then other days I'm feeling like, just kind of plain Jane, and that's why I love them, because like they can kind of just like tell the story of a mood that I might be in without me having to like say much, because I really just don't like talking to people a lot, Haas. No offense.
You're here to talk. Thank you.
We're gonna talk some more though. Don't worry.
So the one thing I definitely like growing up and being into sneakers also is just like, well, in the city it's a lot different, but because you get pockets of it, like there's always going to be like people in the Jordans, like the mainstream sneakers is what I'm Mr. Big Underground, like, I defy I'm a very different defier or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still had love for sneakers, and so like you see how people interact with it in the city level, but like when you're in a small rural town, and you're getting all this crazy stuff, and you're like, you don't understand.
Yeah, and like not to take. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, not to take away, because there were definitely people that that appreciated it. It wasn't like I was like the only single. I mean, we had places. Mostly it was like the mall, you know. I think I was listening to I want to say, was her name Melissa
Chanel?
Yeah. And you know, I think she's from South Carolina originally, and I remember like we would go to Florence, South Carolina, which is I think more towards where she was originally from, and there was a Foot Action there, and they had an LS account, like lifestyle for Jordan. And I remember going there to get the Grape Jordan 5, like when it first retroed. Yeah. You know, so, and I was with like, you know, a few of my friends, and like there was a line when we got there. So like people got it, you know what I mean? But like the mall was definitely a big, you know, outlet for people, for the most part, supplying like footwear. So it was like a lot of like the new Jordans and like, you know, different Air Force Ones. Once in a while at the Finish Line that I worked at, we would get, because we were the third biggest Finish Line in the Southeast region. Yeah. Team 301. Hey, shout out. And sometimes we would get some pretty cool stuff. Like you remember the SVSM Air Force One, which was made with like Coach leather, which is kind of cool when you think about like
Coach the brand leather?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, pretty sure.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you might want to fact check that one too. Sometimes I just be throwing out, you know, random things, and he's like, I gotta make sure this doesn't sound right. Unless there's like some other Coach leather situation thing that I'm not familiar with. But
let's see.
Man, they were super buttery. I remember just thinking should be paying way more for this. Like, can I pay you a little more?
I can't find it. So,
well, it was like that forest green.
We'll go with it.
Yeah. Trust me, it's made with the finest Coach leather of all time. The
finest Coach leather.
They pulled it out of their archives. And was like, hey, we know the perfect thing for this. So yeah, I mean, for me, I appreciated that, but I also wanted to find other things that maybe were a little bit more like rare and like harder to find. And I feel like SB, which is probably like a cliche within like our world at this point, but it really was sort of.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, like when you get to like people like of my age and like that,
you know, we're about the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. So, you know, I feel like to me, like, you know, it really introduced, even though Nike and like other brands had done collaborations pre SB. Yeah. I feel like that was like when it really started to like bubble up with like the collabs.
I get that, but I think what I like, or what I think they should get credit for, was allowing for like bright storytelling.
Yeah.
You know,
the storytelling. Yeah. I mean, just like very, if people knew like the actual story, it probably wouldn't have happened. Like, and like, obviously,
need that back. Yeah. We need that back.
I think it can get there. I think it can.
I mean, don't think we'll be able to get like,
it won't get exactly like that, because like
we're never going to get like a Boyos Hermanos dunk low, like we're like, you know, like, and we're the ones calling it that. Like, we're not gonna get, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to even think, Jack Reacher.
Well, I did
dunk highs.
Yeah, no, I know. Maybe you shouldn't get that. Possibly could do without it. But no, I mean, I don't know for sure, but is that dot swoosh Donkey Kong Air Max 1 like,
it's not an official like, but the same with like, the Tomb Raider one.
Yeah, so like I think it's kind of like touching into like that space, but you know,
but I think that is like,
but it's a little too maybe on the nose.
It is on the nose. That's what I was just about to say, because it's like it's like a huh?
Yeah,
Like they're just like
huh?
nudging you.
Yeah, it's definitely no Pee Wee Herman dunk.
No,
like,
right?
Where
Yeah.
it's like, wait, why is the silhouette of this guy in the
Why is there,
theater like on
theater
the insole?
chairs?
Like, what the hell is that about?
Or
Yeah.
even like Mork and Mindy's, where it's like it's literally just Mork's suit, and you or even which never came out, the Heaven Gates.
Oh man, just do it.
Yeah, for real, man.
Yeah,
like or even drop the damn shoe. Give me the I don't know, is it like a Air Max one? It's not an Air Max one. It's like a, forgot the name of the model. I literally just looking at it, but they all wore the same sneakers.
Oh yeah.
Is it an Air? It's not an Air Stop. No, but I know they're like.
I know what you're talking about. It's the famous picture with like the feet up. And, Yeah,
they need to just drop that shoe again
and just not say anything.
Yeah,
just like that silhouette. Don't put any like color up or any. Just like secretly drop them like at like, I don't know, like pay less or something, and just call it a day.
DSW, you know? Throw it on a DSW shelf.
That would be so fire. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's important to evolve as well, and not just always. I mean, it's tough because I really do feel like we kind of grew up in like a golden era.
Yeah.
But I still see stuff that like excites me to this day. And, you know, it's kind of like what keeps me going. Yeah. You know, it's sort of the battery in my back, so to speak. But yeah, man, I think it's like, it's different, and like we're not used to that different. But I think that I have, you know, optimism that it's going to continue to be good. It's just going to be a different kind of good. And, you know, I try because like a lot of times I find myself being like, what? Like, you know, like what the, like, you know, but I think you just got to try to always have like that perspective of where's the silver lining.
Right. Know? Yeah. I think and I mean, it's more part of the creation, why I created this podcast, but I'm very optimistic. Like I'm an optimistic person. Like, I mean, not in terms of just like, hey, I'm going to get everything, but like, I'm going to eventually get sneakers that I will enjoy. Like, or if I'm going to always try, like, I like a lot of the stuff that comes out just on I guess just like an appreciation type of basis where I do look forward to getting that new pair when that new pair is like, yo, I got to get like the Nigels. Like, I'm like, yeah, I need to have those.
Super buttery. Super.
Don't rub it in my face. I didn't get them.
You'll get them. I feel confident you will somehow find a way. But yeah, no, I mean, the thing also too is, and I think you had mentioned this in another podcast where you were talking about the nature of sort of the beast today is where when you get something, it's almost like, okay, cool, I got it. What's next? On to like the next one. And I do think that, you know, I'm even, excuse me, I think I'm even guilty of that to like a certain degree where it's like, it's almost like achievement award, you know, and it's like, I'm not really taking the time to like appreciate them for like the reason I did in the first place, you know? And especially when you start amassing like a certain like a level and like amount of, you know, sneakers, it just, man, it is kind of hard to just like go back and like wear some of them and like really like, so.
I mean, and also, I mean, it's gotta be even tough because you're holding such like crazy pairs and taking pictures of them, and you're like, okay, but should I really try for this pair when I have this pair in front of me that was but also I wanted to know, how'd you get into that? Like how did you stumble into photography?
So for me it was this realization that basketball was not going to be you know, my road to success. Yeah. Right. So
how many points were you putting up a game?
You know, I was very good with you know, some of the
was your lockdown defense.
Yeah, you know, like I was like one of those like gritty players where like I was like getting into the trenches.
Josh Hart.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of caliber. But yeah, so like for me, I was like, okay, I still really love sneakers.
Mhm.
I'm starting to kind of amass like a little bit of a, collection here. It's like maybe like 20 pairs or
Yeah.
whatever. And at that point, I also had been just like scrubbing the internet, especially like Nike Talk and in style shoes. And I think even you are a big proponent of the NSB
Oh yeah.
org.
NSB.org,
Yes,
baby.
sir. So I'm like looking at all this stuff, and then simultaneously I get uh sort of just like the free throw in digital camera that
Mhm.
came with our family's computer, because that was like a thing at that point for some reason.
Y'all went to
They're like,
PC Richards.
yeah, something like that. Our version of it down there.
Circuit City.
Yeah, probably. And, I guess they're like trying to really hook people to buy certain, they're like, oh, here's a camera. And they're like, all right. So I got this camera. I think it was like a Kodak Easy Share 1 megapixel point and shoot,
crazy.
whatever. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm going to bring this all around, trust me. But there's also another diversion here where in high school, they started a photography club.
There you go.
And I was like, oh, well, I got a camera and I like taking pictures. So like, I'm going to join that. And I think that it's going to look good on the resume. So, hopefully I'll get into a good college or something like that. He did photography club. It was the first year. Oh yeah. He's in.
Get him in. Yeah. Harvard.
Yeah, exactly. Cum laude.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wasn't really that good, I think just like what I was taking pictures of at that time just wasn't really striking people. It was like sunsets and like a picture in my car with like the rear view mirror and like the sky was nice in the background or something. I remember I submitted a couple of pictures because part of the photography club was we would submit pictures to the county fair. I did not even get an honorable mention, let alone a ribbon of any sort. I took that very personal. That was like the beginning
put
of
the meme right here.
Yeah, there, insert right there. So anyway, I was like, well, I still got this camera. I like taking pictures. I just need to find the subject. Then I see Nike Talk like pops up with a thread, and I finally see it, and it says like, post your 6 sneaker pictures. I was like, let me see what we got going on here. So I start, perusing, and I'm like, damn, this is exactly sort of how I view sneakers. Like people are kind of getting, and I was like, I think I can do this. So, thus began the journey. And I started like really taking my time, and I already knew a lot about footwear anyway. So I knew a lot of, and like I would look at my shoes all the time anyway, like a psychopath, just
studying your subjects.
Yeah. So I knew
your
the
trophies.
I knew I knew the angles. Like, man, it was like a match made in heaven for me. And from there, I never really looked back. That was a good moment. Yeah.
So what made you move out and pursue this full time?
So it wasn't happening. I couldn't find like a lot of people that was like, I need sneaker pictures. What do you got for me? I had a friend who actually he owned a store back in the day called Sweet Soul, and it was like really the first sneaker boutique ever in that area. And bless his heart, like Gustavo, his name, he was giving me work as much as he could, but it was like not enough for me to obviously make a good like living off of. So I'm trying here and there, and eventually they had to close down because that was like unfortunately right around like the financial collapse of 2008. So that was unfortunate thing. But I think fast forward, there was another boutique that opened up, and I was kind of helping out with them. And, this was all just like on the side. Like at this point, I also had a job at like Starbucks. Like, oof, I don't think I'll ever get any kind of partnership with them after everything I've said in previous things, but it's okay. Fuck Starbucks. And so, yeah, I was doing an early shift because I knew that there were some ASICs coming out online. And there were actually some people, like some reps of Huff that had come in. I was like, geez, guys, it's a little early. I got this like, I got a sneaker launch that I gotta try. I gotta get these shoes. And so I kind of was like, not like standoffish, but if you like just looked at me, like you could tell that like my mind was elsewhere. Like I'm like looking in the computer screen, like, trying to like click and get the shoes. And the shoes were Ronnie Fieg's ECP Dolphin ASICs.
Oh, I got the Knicks.
Yeah. And what's funny about that is that was the pair that I wanted. I really wanted the Knicks, but I clicked on like some Twitter link and it pulled me up to the Dolphins. And like at that point, it's like you just got to go. There's no like like choosing here at this point. You just got to grab something. Shout out Team Manual. I never had a bot. I can proudly say I never had a bot. It's definitely,
I've done auto refresh, but not.
Yeah, I mean that's a little different. I still consider that.
Yeah, no bot here, no add to carts.
So anyway, I get them in the mail, and I'm like, damn, ASICs, like these are crazy. Like the color was so rich, the materials. It was like unlike any ASICs I had personally seen like in my area. So I'm like, oh, these are cool. Like I'm going to definitely take pictures. So a friend of mine had a couple of friends that wanted couples pictures. And I was the photographer, even though that was not really my lane. I was like, all right, like it's for you. Like I got you. And, the guy paid me like pretty decently. So I was like, cool, I'll get some money, but I'm also going to bring these shoes along. And I was like, I know the perfect place, guys, where we can take these pictures. When truth be told, it was really more so I just knew where I wanted to shoot the shoes. So I kind of just ran through that shoot real quick. And then after they left, like I was like getting in my car, like even like really selling it, like, oh, I'm leaving. Like coast was clear. I was like, all right, time to get these ASICs out and go shoot. I must have spent like, I don't know, maybe an hour on them. The shoes I spent probably 4 hours on. So anyway, and I'm glad I did it because I got this one picture and I was like, man, this is my like Mona Lisa. This is my like Sistine Chapel. Like this is great. I love it. So I went home. I was like, I'm immediately editing this picture. And at this point, Instagram had kind of like started, becoming a thing, except you could only post one picture.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to make it count.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I have 2 other pictures that I like, but nah, this is the one. So I edited it. And at that time, I believe it was the Knicks and the Pacers playing in the playoffs. And
this is when
I couldn't tell
Roy
you.
Hibbert went crazy.
Maybe to be honest, this was like a surprise. I think even to the Knicks that they were in the playoffs because it was like the first time in a long time, pre like the new Knicks, way pre that. So anyway, I knew Ronnie was probably at the game, and it was kind of like around like halftime. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna post it now." What could he possibly be doing? He's just chilling. It's halftime, like whatever. So I put the picture up, and this is even pre like you couldn't tag anybody. You just had to like mention them in the caption.
Right. Yeah.
So I just said at Ronnie. I don't know why I'm typing as if it's a keyboard. It's a phone. At Ronnie Fieg, you're gonna give me an opportunity to shoot for you. And I said publish post out into the universe. And I want to say maybe like 5-6 minutes later, I got a like from Ronnie Fieg, and I was like, oh shit, like he likes it. dot 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 dot. Like,
Yeah.
where are we going? Like,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
refresh.
Uh-huh.
Sure enough, a comment pops up like maybe 20 seconds later. I will. And I was like, you would have thought I had just like fucking hit like a game-winning shot in the playoffs myself. The way I jumped up, I was like Jordan on Craig Elo and the fours, you know, like man, that was like such a moment that
my heart
will forever be
popped out my chest.
I said, I can't believe it. I'm out. I had already started packing my suitcase. Unfortunately, it wasn't such a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
I still had to go back to Starbucks a little bit. But I was like on some other shit when I was like rolling up to like Starbucks at that point. Like, you know,
hot shit.
Yeezus was like fresh off like the press, and I'm like blasting it in my car, pulling up to the shift, like on some like, ooh, I can't wait because this is, you won't be seeing me very much longer. I assure you that. I ended up quitting because I just couldn't take it any longer. I started working actually at Finish Line again.
Sneaker saved your life again.
It really did. But simultaneously, at this point, they were like Ronnie was sending me product to shoot back home. And so I was building the relationship that way. And eventually we got to like the Volcano Gel 5 Asics. And that was like
that got away.
And that was the first time I got to shoot like sneakers. Like, because before that, it was more like Sabagos and stuff like that.
I have those.
Yeah. It was actually my first Ronnie collab, was a pair of Sabagos he did that had like the little tassel. Like, it was a high boot and it had a tassel at the front. That was my first introduction.
Hell, this is a full circle moment for me.
There you go. So yeah, man. After that Volcano Gel 5 that I said, man, I'm leaving it all out here on the like, I'm gonna go fucking nuts. And like, I did like 2 or 3 shoots, and I just like, each one was like a version of that Miami Gel 3. Like, it was like banger after banger. Like, there was like one like it was like a salt, like, I don't know, you know, like salt sheds. Except it wasn't in a shed. It was just a mounds of salt or whatever, but it looked insane. It looked like some kind of like volcano, like atmosphere at like ish. And I went crazy on that. And I just like, I really could not miss. It felt like at that point I typed in the cheat code, pulled out the Game Shark, you know, and just went crazy. And then after that, we got on a call, and I'm like, all right, man, what's going on? Like, I've been doing this now, sort of like, you know, freelance. What's good? So then at that point, he was like, come to New York and do this internship. And
damn, internship after all of that?
Listen, I know. I totally resonate with that. But I was like, you know what?
I mean, it's still an
I'm going even harder now. You know what? Because like at that point, New York was just like this mythical land to me. Like I remember. Do you remember that website? I think it was called Threadless. Yeah. So I had bought this shirt that said I have never been to New York, and that I have like never, the have never been was like in the form of a heart. And that was sort of like my motivation. I'd put that on and I'd look in the mirror and like, one day you're going to take this shirt off, you know, because you're going to be there. And so then
I love this competitiveness.
Man. So I came up, man. I came up to New York for the Flamingo Gel 3 release, just because at that point we were kind of in contact, and I was like trying to meet up with Ronnie, and that didn't happen. So I was like, oh no, what have I done? But I loved it when I came here, man. I was like, man, I knew this is what felt like home. Like, I remember going back to the airport, just thinking, I'm coming back. Like, this is not like the last of it. So yeah, man.
That, I mean, taking that like flyer on this like opportunity is super. It's like, How old were you at that time?
24,
24,
25.
24 doing that is,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was crazy because like at that point it was like, my family's like, all right, like so I dropped out at college
Mm,
to like try to help my pops with like his business, and like
mhm.
that wasn't happening, and then Starbucks, that clearly wasn't fucking happening, and then it's like, all right, well, you gotta go back to school if you're not gonna. I was like, I can't do it, I just won't, I just, yeah, and I didn't,
Yeah.
I just never looked back, and I was like, I'm going all in on this, and yeah, man, now we're here.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, look, you've been on a extremely crazy run ever since then too, because yeah, everybody like I feel like you are the go-to person
Yeah,
if you want your shit represented correctly.
thank you, man.
So it's like,
The thing is like, and maybe this is part of just how I keep going, is like I never even view myself that way.
mhm.
And like I never wake up thinking like, where's my opportunity? Like what's going on? Like, I
Yeah.
never like really spend a lot of time. Like I'll take a picture that, comes out really nice, or,
Mhm.
what have you, and I'll be like, good job. But then I keep it moving. And then if anything, I'll go back, you know, next day, 2 days later, and I'll start critiquing my own photo, like really just like obsessing over it, not from the sake like that I think it's amazing. Like, oh, look at what I did. I'm like, that's good, but this could be much better.
Right.
Like the
Yeah.
light could do this a little bit better,
Mhm.
the lace, whatever it is. It's like I'm always trying to like outdo myself.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a I think that's the key of like, because you're not picking yourself apart. You're like, I'm just want to refine. The next one is going to be better than the
Yeah,
last one.
correct.
I know I recently tweeted something. It was something to something to that where it's just like there you should always be your best stuff is your last. People will know you from the last thing you put
For
out.
sure.
And so if you aren't just consistently just trying to do better than the last thing you put out, then it's kind of just like you're going to feel stagnant. You're not going to want to keep going.
Yep.
And, on top of that, you still have to love what you're doing. So if you're just constantly bashing yourself like, oh, this is whack, instead of being like, all right, cool, that's, I did that. All right, now how do I make it a little bit better?
Yeah.
I think that the perspective is everything.
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
yeah.
No, I mean, that's 100% right. And you know, it's not easy.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
tell
not.
you that. I mean, like I've been doing this professionally for over like 12 years now,
Mhm.
and there's definitely points in times where I'm like, man, like does anybody like truly care? Like
Mhm.
does it like
Listen, I'm there
and
with you.
and like I fall into it like
Yeah.
once in a blue, but I just know that, you know, why I started to begin with, and that was for like the love of it,
Yeah.
and obviously I need to make a living. Like anybody
Mhm.
that tells you that like money is not like any part of the equation is God bless,
Yeah.
Like I respectfully have to disagree. I don't think it's everything,
Mhm.
but you need to be able to live,
Yeah.
like
It's just a
starving
lot.
artists, like
Yeah.
I don't want to be like,
It's
on
just
like some Ramadan shit for
no,
like the
yeah,
longest time,
for
man. Like I
real,
just
yeah.
let me eat some, and
Yeah.
like I'm pretty simple. Like when it like I don't like wear jewelry, like I don't wear like a lot of jewelry. I'm not like
Mhm.
super fly, like, but I do like my kicks,
Right,
and I like some
exactly.
clothes here and there. But I, as long as I can like afford that, have a nice place, eat, pretty good, like I'm chilling. But
Yeah.
like I sometimes fear that, you know, the trend of sort of just like doing it for the love and doing it for the gram
Mhm.
can sort of plateau the community as a whole.
Yeah.
And that to me is where, sometimes I feel like maybe I need to be like a villain or like the anti-hero or something, like somebody that will come off as like, yo, what a fucking prick that guy is. But like, you'll understand it later, where it's like, really, I'm trying to help in a roundabout way and I can't really explain it, but I promise you it's gonna land and you'll thank me later. But yeah, it's tough, man. Like, I just get tired sometimes, I'm just like, ugh, like I can't really, I don't post nearly as much just because of that same sentiment, in a sense where it's like, I don't want to water it down, and I know like the algorithm is like, you gotta post all the time.
Yeah, all
like,
the time.
Where you been? Yeah. But I just think that, we gotta take these sort of like mental hiatuses sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really, like, that way, one, for your own sanity, but two, for like the art of it, because if you're just churning out the same thing over and over, you're gonna water it down. That's just the way the world is, man. Like, if you keep dropping the same shoe over and over with like a massive amount of pairs each time, they might start sitting. They might go on sale. They might get RA'd. Like, you gotta be mindful. It's like life is really balanced, and so that's where we're at.
Yeah. So we're towards the end of the podcast and deals with the visualization. So
all right, one second. I'm sorry.
We forgot to break out. We got to break out the.
I gotta Mr. Rogers this real quick. I need to change some footwear real quick. This is not a bit by any means, but I do want to get. This was sort of like a visualization in itself of sort of the fit that I really wanted to get off today. So.
Oh my. Okay.
So we're gonna go with the Monopoly. Oops, I better take
you gotta take that off.
Someone's spot up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, these are the Monopoly LeBron ACG Air Zoom Generation. I don't know if these didn't technically release. I don't think. But,
no, they didn't.
And I don't know how many pairs they did. Like,
I think they only did like
100 maybe or so.
Yeah, it was a small amount.
Anyway, a little friend of mine sent them my way, so I wanted
fire.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw these on real quick because this was the idea of the fit. Like, the pant bringing back in like sort of like the brown in the shoe, and then you remember the Swagger Terminators?
Yeah.
You remember how one was like brown, one kind of like the turquoise.
It
was like
I thought it was like red. Is it like run red or burgundy? It's like a burgundy. It's like a brownish burgundy.
Somewhere in that world of browns. So anyway, that was sort of like
famously Lupe wore.
Yes, Mr. Fiasco. Sorry if this takes a little long. I want to make sure we're looking nice and spiffy here.
No, for sure.
But I can multitask.
Right, cool.
I'm actually terrible at it, but
I was still asked to.
Yeah, let's go.
I want you to visualize you.
I'm visualizing.
As let's do the Concords. All right. So I want you to think back to young Tyler.
Yeah.
And he's about to open that box with the Space Jams in them.
Yes.
Right? Because you got them.
I finally, after taking all the money from lunch money.
Yeah. And now you're transported back in time. What would you tell your younger self as he opens that box?
Man, look, Tyler, you're gonna go through the ringer and it's gonna be okay. People are not gonna understand what the fuck is going on. Thank you. People are not going to really get it, and that's okay because it's not for them to get. As long as you are getting it, then you're going to get it. And it's not going to be like the easiest of rides trying to convince people that the world needs these high-end elevated sneaker pictures, but you're going to break through and you're going to be able to change the game. And then once you change the game, you're going to continue to evolve within the game that you have changed and just take it to different levels. And you're You're going to meet some great people around the way. You're going to meet your wife because of it. You're going to get all the sneakers that you have fantasized about that you didn't even know that existed. You're going to end up getting another pair of Space Jams with the 45 on the back.
Hey.
As long as you just continue to stay true to yourself.
That's beautiful, man.
And maybe put a little bit of money into Apple or something.
Yeah, you got to get in early. Let everybody know where to find you.
Mostly just Instagram. You can also find me on, I'm not calling it what it's called these days, so I'm going to just call it Twitter. But Twitter and Instagram, Aab Lincoln, underscore on the Instagram in between the Arab and the Lincoln, and no underscore on Twitter. I can't even remember why I decided to put the underscore on Instagram. Somebody else, some imposter must have had.
Somebody got it, yeah.
He's the Sands underscore motherfucker.
He's the one that has the pictures of the Tiffany dunks on there.
Yeah, he's holding it hostage. Yeah. He's like, one day this is gonna pay off, this floppy disk. I know it.
You know where to find me. I am Who Is Haas on all social media. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. You're not going to be able to get those.
I'm taking these right off after the podcast are being put back in the box, and maybe one day I'll sell them as pads. Pass as dead stock, in case you're wondering what that abbreviation or acronym is.
And if you've been listening to this, it's on YouTube at My First Kicks on YouTube. If you have a My First Kick story, we'd love to read it to a guest. Hit me up, info@myfirstkicks.com. New shirts should be up, I think, soon. I think so. Those will definitely ship out as you buy them. And then I'm trying to even think what else. Am I missing anything? No, make sure you give my guy a follow.
And shout out Packer Shoes too, by the way. They've been my latest and greatest as far as like being able to like go and really start elevating other product as well. So shout out Mike. Hopefully maybe we could get him. I don't know.
I'm down. Hell yeah.
Maybe he would come onto the podcast.
I ran into quick just a side note because of Packer, but I ran into Iman Shumpert.
Oh shit.
And I stopped him. I was like, you don't understand how bad I wanted those Packer Iman Shumpert.
What did he say?
And he was so high. He was just like, yeah. You're talking about the spot in Jersey? And I was just like, God. I was like, yeah, man. If you ever want to do my podcast, let me know.
Just those moments never really seem to unfold exactly how you want. Just like me.
I'm fine with it.
It's like my version of the Tiffany dunk in high school, first day.
I'm fine with it, man. And you know what we say each week, man? Wear your kicks.
Yes.
Peace.